Um, Hello, YouTube. I'm making a video that explains the events of Robert's Rebellion and really how magic works in the series of Game of Thrones. This is the second video, and it's titled Rhaegar's Rebellion. I've dedicated it to Rhaegar, Elia, Rhaenys, and Aegon. So before I go into this video, I have to do a recap of magic. If you haven't already, go back and watch my first video. It'll make this whole video make a lot more sense. So briefly, all spells involve the sacrifice of people who can trace their descent to a king from the age of heroes. In my previous video, I make the claim that the prince that was promised prophecy is more like a spell or a self-fulfilling prophecy than it is a correct telling of the future. It just means that you need three individuals to power a spell to wake dragons. And Maggie the Frog's Valonqar prophecy is actually talking about the prince that was promised. So now we move to Rhaegar's Rebellion. It starts with the tragedy at Summerhall. So the tragedy at Summerhall was a Targaryen spell to hatch dragons that went wrong. And Rhaegar was born on Summerhall because he was the prince that was promised to the gods as sacrificed. The spell was timed around his birth, but the spell backfired, killing most members of House Targaryen, placing the house on the brink of extinction. So after the tragedy at Summerhall, Rhaegar grew up as a normal crown prince. But at some point, he learned from a scroll that he was born to be a sacrifice. Now, during his childhood, Aerys took no interest in raising Rhaegar. And Rhaegar eventually grew up, and when he was a teenager, his father started to go mad. And Aerys's madness created a faction of lords that wanted to depose him and place someone else on the throne. This comes to the tourney at Harrenhal. So Varys told Aerys that he believed the tourney at Harrenhal was a pretext for Rhaegar to meet with the High Lords of Westeros and to depose Aerys. It was called by Walter Went after meeting with his brother and member of the King's Guard and Rhaegar's close friend, Oswell Went. Something happened at the tourney that made Rhaegar reconsider his plans to depose his father, and shortly after the tourney, Rhaegar kidnapped Lyanna Stark on the way to her brother's wedding. Rhaegar's rebellion had started. So Lyanna Stark's kidnapping sent the realm into civil war, and Rhaegar and his Kingsguard were nowhere to be found the entire rebellion. Robert, Ned, and Jon Arryn were all running around like action heroes, while Rhaegar was at the Tower of Joy. And I think that what he was doing at the Tower of Joy is he was trying to make sacrifices with Lyanna Stark to hatch dragons. And I think the behavior of the houses that knew about magic and sacrifice changed in a way that suggests that everything I've said is true. So the people Rhaegar told about magic. I think he told House Hightower because House Hightower, House Went, House Dane, and House Lannister. So let's go to House Hightower. Rhaegar, without a doubt, told Gerald Hightower, who's the brother of Leighton Hightower, about magic. Now, Leighton Hightower has been sealed in the High Tower with his daughter, Maris the Mad Maid, practicing sorcery and witchcraft for the last 10 years, and no one has seen or heard from either of them. And they're about to get into a battle with Euron, and it's going to be amazing if George ever releases this book. Now, let's come to the Went breeding conspiracy. So Rhaegar told House Went how magic and sacrifice works. And it's really odd because the third generation of House Went, the Stark children, are all magically gifted to a point that is impossible. It could not have happened by accident. And let me just give you this statistic, or this number. There are more skin changers born to House Stark than exist in the entire population behind the wall. The Stark children did not happen by accident. They're engineered supermen, essentially. So now we go to House Dane and their relationship with Ned Stark. So they should hate Ned Stark. He killed Arthur, and it's rumored he drove Ashara Dane to suicide. But Edric Dane and Beric Dondarrion, both members of House Dane and knights sworn to House Dane, have a very positive view of Ned Stark. And I think what happened is that Arthur kidnapped his sister, Ashara, and put her in the Tower of Joy and made babies with her. I think Ned killed Arthur and helped Ashara escape, and he kept what Arthur did secret, and that's why House Dane really likes Ned. Now we come to Tywin Lannister's breeding conspiracy. So I think the first person Rhaegar told about all of this was Tywin Lannister. Aerys, he didn't raise Rhaegar. Tywin did. I think Tywin just thought it would be a good idea to make sure that the Crown Prince was prepared to rule, and that he had a good relationship with the Crown Prince. So he took it on him to raise Rhaegar, and I think Rhaegar, being the dumb kid he was, told Tywin how everything works. I think Tywin took this information and used it to benefit House Lannister. Now, we know that Cersei and Jaime were likely drugged with love potion when they were children. That's how the Targaryens made their kids commit incest, and I'm betting that's what Tywin did. And we know that the only person who makes love potion in the story is Maggie the Frog or her descendants. So it's clear to me that Tywin and Maggie are engineering a magical bloodline that will end in sacrifice, just like Cersei's Valonqar prophecy. Before I end this video, I want to say this. Rhaegar was not a monster. House Targaryen could not rule Westeros without dragons, and after Summerhall, they were on the brink of extinction with only 5 surviving members. Elia couldn't bear any more children without dying, and that meant Rhaegar's only option was to rape his wife to death and kill all of his children, or watch his entire family be murdered. And I think Lyanna Stark offered a desperate man a way out. And that's it. Thank you. This is a crazy video, but I'm pretty sure it's right. And I'd love to know what you guys think of it, and share it with all your friends and subscribe.